Hello and welcome to the 160th Photography Podcast. We're in episode 60 and this is called Give Up on Editing and Do Something Else. Now, interestingly, I'm doing more for the YouTube version of this. So this episode is going to go straight to YouTube and I'm hoping to be able to publish to YouTube as I upload the audio episodes. And I'm just going to do a simultaneous recording. YouTube, I don't do anything fancy with. And YouTube, I tend to update in bulk because sadly, I know there aren't that many listeners on YouTube. So it's always something that is an afterthought. I'm trying to address that and I'm trying to do something a bit different and try something out, get my backlog of episodes up to date on YouTube and then release at the same time. So if you're watching episode 160, hopefully by that time I've updated the back catalogue and everything is in the correct synchronization. Anyway, we'll find out in the future. So I've called this episode Give Up on Editing and Do Something Else simply because I sort of feel like I sort of feel like I've given up on editing and I'm doing something else. What do I mean by that? Well, it's quite rare I go out and take photos. I still do some photography, but I'm not going out the weekends and doing fashion shoots. I'm not doing portraits. I'm not doing street photography. We all know why. I don't need to spell out why I'm not really doing that anymore. And I came across something to do with Adobe. And I thought, I've got Lightroom. I've got Photoshop. I've actually, at the moment, got the whole Creative Suite. And I just don't use it. And I bought it thinking, I'll see if I use it. Well, actually, I didn't buy it. I rented it, despite my reservations about renting it. And you know what? I haven't used it particularly much. So for the video side of what I do, I've had a go. I've used Premiere Pro. I've used Rush. And while those things are incredible and you've got access to so many other things, it's just such a steep learning curve. And I can do things quicker in other software. So that's generally what happens. I don't have the time to invest in it, unfortunately. They also need a very powerful machine with Adobe stuff. And I was thinking, I don't even use Lightroom. Most of the time, editing's on my mobile phone. And most of the time, it's composition and cropping. And then it's colour. And then it's little tweaks. So if I go out and I take a picture, or I do family pictures, and I think, I want to edit that. I normally just copy it to my phone or maybe my iPad and I'll change the composition as I want, and for the other I'll just press the auto button. And actually I'm happy with that because I'm not going out and shooting things for magazines. I'm not touching up faces. That sounded wrong. I'm not fixing faces. I don't know. I'm not airbrushing faces. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not getting rid of imperfections and things like that. I don't want to get rid of that when I'm doing family photography. I want warts and all. So I just might want to tweak it ever so slightly, but not to the extent that I can in Lightroom and not to the extent that I can in Photoshop. Now, again, maybe this is just laziness on my part, but I have Luminar. And I got Luminar before I got the new version of Lightroom. So the idea of Luminar was it's quick edits. I can do it really quickly. But actually, the quickest thing is to just do it on my phone. The quickest thing is to plug my card in or use the app that I've got, or, beam it across using the app and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It takes a couple of seconds. It's there. My phone can cope with RAW, don't lose any information. So that's what I'm ending up doing. And seeing something about Adobe just made me think the other day, actually, I'm not really using Adobe stuff. And that's because I'm busy, ultimately. I'm too busy to go upstairs and offload the card into the computer and go through and check them because they're not polished photos and they don't need to be polished. They just need to be printed. So I'm doing a quick edit and I'm generally bumping up the saturation and making it a little bit, increasing the contrast. And I'm printing it on an Instax printer because it's family photography and I'm sticking it on the fridge. And that's really what I'm doing at the moment. So it doesn't really matter if I take that image on my phone or I take it on a compact or a DSLR. And those are the cameras I'm using at the moment, just getting quick snaps of things, just making little short videos of family life, taking little images and just preserving memories. I don't need Lightroom for that. I don't need any Lightroom equivalent. So I'm just doing things on my phone. And the thing is, to print on Instax, I need to get it on my phone anyway. If I had a Fuji camera, I could print straight to Instax from the Fuji camera, but I don't have a Fuji camera. So I'm transferring it to my phone, doing very quick touch-ups and printing it. And I'm busy anyway. I'm busy doing this podcast. I'm busy with family life. I'm busy with my career. I'm busy with YouTube. I don't have time. Weirdly, in a time when there is nothing but time for some people, I don't have time to sit down and edit. So I'm not. So here's a question to you. Should you just give up on editing and do something else? This title reminds me of Why Don't You, which was a kids show from the 80s and 90s in Britain. And it's don't just sit there, get up and do something productive was its sort of motto. And I wonder whether you, the listener, could do something else. Because does anyone like editing their photos? I like taking photos. I like the end result. When I do edit a photo and it's drastically different, I'm pleased with it. But do I enjoy sitting there editing photos? No, I don't think I do. I don't. I like the result, but I don't enjoy editing it. So watch Netflix, do something else, learn something. I don't know. Get out and do more photography even. But maybe, just maybe, try giving up editing for a bit. See what happens. Do something else. This is a controversial episode, but I do wonder. And when I thought about this, I knew it'd be controversial. I knew people are going to say, "What are you talking about? You can't give up on editing." Well, yeah, it's controversial, but does that mean that we now associate if you take a photo, it has to be edited? Because it never used to be like that. Photography, does it seem like it's two parts, the photography and the editing? It should only be one part, and that's taking the image. Anyway, do let me know what you think, and let me know if you're watching this on YouTube, and let me know if you appreciate getting things out on YouTube. Thank you. Goodbye.